Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another week of More Than a Statistic. I'm your host, Justin Griffin. I'm coming up on 11 years clean in August, and I'm thankful to be back with you for another week of sitting down and just getting to chat. I have a good guest this weekend. This is Shannon Russell. She used to work with me a long time ago. She was a kid, and
Yep.
I was actually on drugs. And, life's weird how it sometimes people go away, but then they seem to ebb back. And, you know, I was talking to her earlier before we started, and I said, like you was kind of going through the stuff in your youth, and I was on drugs, so it's kind of two different
Yeah.
perceptions or
Yeah.
perspectives, should I say.
Yeah.
So, life went on, and she announced a recovery ranch, and I don't want to spoil too much of it, so I'm going to pass it over to her and kind of let her tell who she is and then go into this place. And like I said, we're just glad to have her on here. Thank you.
I'm so thankful that you invited me on here. Um, so as you know, we started the Russell Recovery Ranch. My name is Shannon Russell. Me and my husband, I shared a vision with my husband, and he said, "Well, I know not to tell you no." He said, "So I guess all I can do is support you." And so I shared with him my vision here, and really explained to him that. It wasn't my vision. It was God's vision. And if you've ever had a spiritual dream or a thought or something that just feels beyond your own comprehension, it was kind of one of those moments for me. Um, so the Recovery Ranch is something that we put together to take a unique approach to add to the work other organizations are already doing. So, through the years and partnerships and understanding recovery, mental health, trauma centers, abuse, and even just going through a lot of it myself, understanding the system, understanding how things work, I just saw a need for something bigger and better, and I wanted to complement the great work that all of our local recovery centers and mental health centers and even churches and organizations are doing. So yeah, we opened this up. So our goal here and our mission here is to help strengthen your confidence and connection and rebuild purpose. So bringing that sense of purpose back in. And so I'm sure you're wondering even how the Recovery Ranch got started in the beginning. So I, based off my traumas and experiences, I pretty much had moved into an industry that I was very passionate about. And I jumped into the world of real estate and property management. I started in property management first for several years and then decided to go independent and got my real estate license. And then I started selling real estate and become an award-winning realtor within 2 years. And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And then I moved into building a property management portfolio with my business partner. So now we actually manage close to 400 properties, commercial and residential, around East Tennessee. And through that, as you can imagine, I met some really incredible people along the way, and some who even share a similar story or background. And I had several calls from ministries and things like that through rental homes that I had. And then I would meet with them and things like that, and they were explaining to me, hey, we know you're an independent property manager, but there's no availability, and we're in a crisis right now when it comes to addiction and mental health and women's trauma and domestic violence and things like that. And I was like, you're right. And I just didn't realize that there was so many people that would say no to these organizations and ministries. So I started kind of ripping apart those people syndrome is what I like to call it, to a lot of these property owners and saying, hey, this is a very qualified tenant, and here's what they're doing for our community. you know, can we help them? I mean, they're willing to meet your standards, so, you know, are we okay with this? And so basically, I was getting a lot of yeses. And so fast forward since January, after meeting a lot of people in that industry, we've successfully rented to 16 different transition programs.
Nice.
In Knoxville, and we're seeing a lot of progress take place there. So that's been very exciting. But through that, getting to go to a lot of the transition homes and some of the facilities and getting to meet with people, and just checking in, you know, making sure people are doing good, hearing their stories. I understood they needed something more. It wasn't that the work that was happening was bad. It was like, when I was understanding from an outside perspective, a lot of people in these homes or programs were hitting a stagnant point. They're in four walls. They're being coached to get back out there. They're being coached to get the jobs. But there was a lot of things that were missing. So while they were able to coach a lot of individuals to sobriety, it was the skill building, it was the confidence, it was the how can we get outside of just like the fast food realm, or how can we get outside of these? Like, what are these little missing pieces that I could help with? But in order to do that, you have to reach a level of peace and a level of clarity, and bring joy and excitement and connection back into your life to even start developing those building blocks of true purpose again.
Sure.
So, looking at my own traumas, I said, you know, people ask me all the time, how did you endure everything that you endured? And you seem so normal. And I'm like, well, your perception of normal might be something different than another person's perception of normal. But if you're asking me how I am enjoying life today without carrying that weight, I said the first thing I did was I had to spiritually level myself out.
Amen.
And the way you do that, and really it's written in scripture too, it's private prayer, private sanctuary, private, and it mentions that so many times in the Bible. So I would think back at all the times in my life that I experienced something horrendous. And one of the things I picked up on my pattern of behavior was, I would connect outside, outdoors, playing and running and, you know, just being happy. But I was always with the animals. I was always with our goats. I was always with a dog. I was always with animals all the time. We had a pig growing up in the, it's okay, the wind is in our favor here. We had a pig growing up. We had goats. We had a lot of animals, and we were very outdoorsy kids. And so I can just remember in those times of trauma, just reconnecting out there, messing in the gardens, things like that. And I would always feel at peace when I would go to bed or go to school or things like that, instead of letting that weight weigh me down. So when I seen this place, so this could help a lot of people. And so then I just started networking and building my connection. And then I started rescuing animals. And then I started doing even more education and educating myself in the equine therapy side of things. And so I just finished up some holistic equine therapy certifications. So that way I can even help build and connect further with, you know, what we're already doing. But going back to the transition homes and different organizations, these individuals would hit a wall, and then I would talk to their directors or whoever was over the organization, and I would just, you know, ask them some questions. You know, what if somebody opened up like a designated area, like a farm or a ranch or something like that, where people could actually get out and have fun, do activities, play with animals, connect with animals. And then further, like if somebody was able to make partnerships for further education or skill building exercises that could actually get them to that next level, because ultimately all of us are just one person. And a lot of these organizations take on a lot because we're in a crisis, but don't quite have the capability of catering to each individual in the way they really would like to. It's just not possible. And so that's why I say it takes a community. So then I started inviting some of the groups out here to tour with and start providing these services to them. And I get calls all the time with partnerships, and they're like, we have made so much progress. We are making so much headway. So and so hasn't talked to me in 3 months since she's been in our program, and she is just so excited. Whatever you've said to her, she is just so excited to reach these next levels. And it's sometimes just about listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or putting them in a position of feeling like they're not being tested, or
It's being
you know,
seen.
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
not
and
judged.
exactly. And
Yep.
so that's what we're really big on here, is people coming in with open hearts and open minds. Most of the time when they pull up, they're like, ugh, let's just get this over with. By the end of it, and we run them through what all we do here, they're like, when can we come back? So we really set it up like a 8-week program. So we have men's, women's, we do stuff with the teens. We are approved for community service, so people can do community service here. There's a lot that we offer. So we even, customize packages for different types of organizations. But when one of the women's groups came, one of the questions I'll ask them, and I always start out with a small group discussion, right? And so one of the questions I asked was, what's one thing you would like to leave behind this red gate? And so some of them couldn't talk about it, and some of them could. And the ones who couldn't, we all wrote that down on a piece of paper, and we threw it in a big old antique trash can in there. And they all came out here, and I got to understand their movement, body language, which is what I do with animals anyway. So I apply the same thing to people. And so I'm watching them, and I can kind of dissect and pick who's struggling today, or who's struggling with each other today. And sometimes I can pinpoint that or talk to their director, and they'll tell me. And so then we'll go out in the arena, and we have all the animals in stations to where they can actually interact with them. But then we do the team building work, where we will actually pair certain individuals together to make them work out whatever activity we've created with that animal. So by the end of it, they're sweaty, they're tired, they're happy, they're excited, they're a lot of emotions. And then we do some fun time in the creek, and we have the nature trails on both sides. So we have walking trails and horse trails this way, and then this way we have the it's like it's a nature trail, but it's more gravel than it is like a horse trail. And it opens up back there by the creek too, where we do some ground time. But the creek actually runs through the entirety of the property, so it's
Nice.
everywhere, which is really great. So yeah, we do a lot of stuff here, a lot of partnerships, a lot of events. We offer a lot, and we're very customizable. But essentially, one of the reasons too that I thought it was a good idea to open a place like this is most organizations allow their individuals, I mean, even in the teens, either once a month outing or once a week outings. But what I noticed too in feedback when I would ask these questions, a lot of the responses were, when we take our individuals out or our participants out, we get a lot of stares, a lot of, that's those people we were telling, that's the drug house, or that's the troubled teen house, or just that embarrassment, that feeling shameful.
Stigma,
Yeah, it's the stigma. And it could be it could be Topgolf, it could be anywhere like that. And the people booking, are usually on the phone, and they say, hey, I run this kind of program, I want to bring my people out for an outing, da da da. But by the time they show up, everybody in the facility knows who they are, where they're from, and then they act shy or judgy or things like that. So this was an exciting way to just be an extension of works that were already happening, and it I think that it's working out really well. I've met a lot of people, and as you know, we had the judge out here, and we had Mayor Bailey out here in our county backing what we're doing, because we are in a heavy crisis, especially in the rural areas.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's what we're doing here so far.
Pretty awesome.
And you can ask me any questions you want to ask me. I'm an open book.
Okay. So if someone was wanting to get in touch with you, how would they go about it?
Yeah, so you would either go to our website, which is therussellrecoveryranch.com, or our Facebook page, which is the Russell Recovery Ranch, or you would just simply send a message. And my phone number is 865-360-8331. So that's the number you would call for booking and things like that. And sometimes they'll talk to our farm manager. His name's Blake Wallace. So he's here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. He is incredible. And he's helped us really pull this together and get off the ground. But we have a lot of partnerships, which is really good. So even people that are just needing a connection or a network, or just any resources, we have a ton of resources we're able to provide people and steer them in the right direction of things like that.
That's amazing. And I related to what you said about I was the same way. I grew up on a farm in Granger County, so we had cows and all this stuff too, and I was an animal kid. I've always liked animals more than people.
Yeah.
And what I think is special is we're at a conflict when, especially early in the getting off the drugs, we're in a conflict with people because we feel the judgments and all that stuff, So I think it's truly powerful. Even Jesus withdrew to the wilderness. And I find a lot of strength in that. And I think that this is going to do a lot of good. I understand what you said about it wasn't your idea, because same, girl, same.
Yeah, it is. It's like, and then we reach this point, like, what have we done? What have we gotten ourselves into?
What are we supposed to do?
What do we do next?
Yeah.
So I find myself thinking about that because, my blood, sweat, and tears have been put into building this huge real estate thing. And then I'm like, okay, well, now I've bought this. We went from a comfortable lifestyle with a paid off house, no debt, and really great careers in our mid 20s.
Right.
And so we've given that up to purchase something so big and massive, and it takes a lot of work. So I've used that business so far to really, and my husband, to fund everything we're doing here. We have not taken a single cent of donation. We have not done anything like that. We really just wanted to introduce what we're doing so people understood it, to now where we're actually putting package plans together that will work for just about any organization out there, and they're even customizable, which is great. I mean, we have, and it's not just addiction, we have elderly days, we have things for the teens, we have stuff for people in recovery, we even have groups that are partnered with us that are for incarcerated women who are just getting out, things like that. So it's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
We partnered with horse trainers, we've partnered with people who have been in the horse world for a long time and know how to connect, people with animals too, because again, it goes back to one person can't wear all the hats, right?
Sure.
So partnerships are such a strong mindset for us, and such a willful thing on our end. We can both agree that tapping into the recovery industry, you see a lot of good, but you see a lot of greed. You see a lot of misuse. And I have noticed that. And what I would encourage every single person doing these types of works is to, one, make sure you're being led by God to do it. Two, do it with a giving and willful heart. But three, despite the stigma or the control people try, or even the opinions people throw at you, take that with a grain of salt and just, I'm not saying don't take advice. I mean, do not take criticism in an unhealthy way to where you become so discouraged that the path God's laid out for you is starting to become hindered.
Yep.
And that happens a lot too. So many people said, well, you can try to get your real estate license, you can try to get in this business, but I'm just going to let you know, you're probably not going to see anything for 5 years. And year 2, I was winning awards. Again, it's just whatever you feel led in your heart to do.
That's right.
And doing it with good intention. That's the most important thing. I could say that I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of great people through this, and I'm very thankful that I have. And the connection that I've been able to develop with so many people, it makes your problems that you think are problems seem so minor.
Yeah.
Like you really don't know what people are going through.
And you don't really even understand like the change that you're going to see in yourself.
No.
You know what I mean? I tell them all the time, like, y'all think I'm on here helping y'all, like y'all have healed me so much. Just being able to sit here and talk about it, having people that show up and listen. And,
yes, exactly.
And that's why
it's incredible.
I'm huge on what you're doing, because this is what brings real change.
It
know
does.
What I mean?
It does.
So, did you ever find your peacock?
We did not. We did not find the peacock. So she is free roaming. Maybe one day she'll come back, but we'll see. I really like what you said too about other people really listening and helping heal you too. I feel that so much when I work with people out here. But, and I'm sure you've heard this stigma before too, but what makes you qualified? That's my favorite question people ask me. And I'm like, it's interesting and I'm excited. People will ask me that. I get excited when someone asks me that, because I'll say, did you know that Jesus qualified everybody unqualified?
Yep.
Did you know that? So that's usually how I'll start that conversation out. And that's so true. But, sometimes I'll share my story and my testimony to help others know that what they see today is not who I was.
Same.
And then when I share my story, and I can even share that with you, they just don't, they're like, oh my gosh, well, how are you functioning? How are you normal? Well, I didn't know you went through that. And usually when I share my testimony, it helps kind of break that ice with people too, because they understand I'm not coming from a judgment perspective.
It's hard for a lot of people to comprehend that too.
It is. It 100% is.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this all happened during the busiest time of your life.
It did.
Yeah,
of
course it did. Me too.
It did. It happened the same year we had finally met our goal of becoming debt free. So I said, "Are you sure, Lord? Are you sure?" Yeah. So it was a very uncomfortable thing to do, and we did it. And so now we're just kind of like, okay, well, what's next? But
he's going to show that.
And he will, and it's not on my timing. But looking at how much progress has happened and how much connection has happened, you do realize we only opened May 1st.
Yeah, that's crazy. Isn't it?
So by the 27th, we were on the news. And then the following week, we were hosting an event for our local judge and mayor. By the 1st of May, we were already hosting groups and connecting with different organizations and ministries, and we were already getting to work, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It was really awesome. So it's going at a fast pace, and I get so excited because I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next?
Same. I'm sitting back like, okay, what now?
Like what do I do?
Each person that sends a positive message, or you know what I mean? It's like I see someone that came to me and now they are living better than they was 6 months ago. And, I had a small part in that.
Yeah.
And you know what qualifies when you were talking about it, I was going to say it was God, and because I survived it, like how many people get to say that?
How many people get to say that they've survived things
that's
like
what
that?
what I've learned is it takes people that's been either affected by it or firsthand been in
Yes.
it, you know?
And that's what people ask me all the time. They're like, well, you were never a drug
Yeah.
addict. And then I'll share my story, and then they understand my perspective is just as painful as your perspective.
Sure.
And it's not a competition. It just helps them understand that
You have
the
experience.
the effects on either side is just as long term
Yeah.
painful, and it really destroys a lot of opportunity for yourself. And then you kind of sit in the same stagnant state as the person who was in active addiction. So I'm able to share both sides of it, and but I also understand, just because of my family and my brother, firsthand what addiction looks like and how painful it is for them, and just that chokehold. And so many times I just wish I could take it from the people around me. And I'm happy to share a little bit of that with you. I was pretty much brought up in foster care. So it was me and my biological brother, and we had same mom, same dad. My mom had a child before me and my brother, but my dad was a drug dealer. My mom was a prostitute. And we were placed in several foster homes until our last foster home we were in, they ended up adopting us, which, looking back, I could see where, even looking back at that moment, being officially adopted, while there was, it was bittersweet. And here's what a lot of people don't understand: children that withgo that type of trauma can remember, and they're so far advanced mentally because they've been put in a fight or flight state. I can remember things about myself from 2 and 3 years old, where other people that didn't have that are like, there's no way you could remember that age. But I do remember saying to myself, man, like, I'm never going to get to see them again. Man, I'm never going to be able to go home again. I'm never going to be able to play with my mom again, or things like that. I am very fortunate that I did get adopted with my brother, so we didn't have to grow up in separate homes. But the family that did adopt us, we were not treated very well. We were not done very well, and it took me a long time to dust off that shame. I was personally sexually abused for many, 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 many years, from a very young age to my teenage years. And it really didn't matter who I told, or I thought I was telling the right people that were supposed to protect me. But it was just crippling because I was not believed, or I was not, seen or heard. And then I would walk with other women or talk with other women, even just my age, that would go through the same things, and it would be like the same problem. But then it was something, as I got older, I just didn't, I didn't talk about it. I didn't think about it. We just, you move forward. But then I found God, really. I truly found God. And it's like, once He really enters you, it's almost like every bit of pain, every bit of shame, any type of hindrance, because He's literally showing you your identity, it just kind of melts away. Yeah. And so then you're able to talk about it. And what's even crazier is, even through the people who hurt me and did things to me, I can still sit here and forgive them. I can still sit here and pray for them. I can still sit here and be hopeful for them, without feeling that constant anger always arising. Sure. Which was very difficult for a long time to do. But then, when as I got older, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to hit the ground running. I've endured all these things. Like nobody loves me, nobody cares about me. It's just me, myself, and I. I actually started putting money together at a very young age. I was cleaning mobile homes up here by the lake, um, and I would catch rides from one of my special needs brothers who lived in the home with us, who was adopted with us. One of his nurses that stayed in the house. Um, I would catch rides with her, and I would clean her house and then stay the overnight and then clean everybody else's the next day, so I could make like $240 at 12 and 13 years old. And so I started stacking that money up, and I was able to buy a car from a friend from high school when I was 15, and it was all paid for. And then I just kind of kept it hidden. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, go. And then I bought the car, got that out of the way, and then I started working evening jobs when I was 16 at like Gondolier and Crystals and places like that, which I think I was 18 when I worked at Crystals. But I started doing things like that, and yeah, I actually came out to Union County, and that's kind of where I implanted myself. I took custody of my brother when I was 18. He was 16. Got him out of there because he was experiencing a tough time. He had gone through many facilities already as a teenager just from the same thing, somebody not believing him, accusations, and that crushed him.
Yeah.
It destroyed every bit of confidence or anything positive going for him. It just it disintegrated. And so I've always tried to advocate for him in a positive way. And as he got older, where I was just more of a nose to the grindstone, I'm building something for my family. I'm going to be the chain breaker. I'm going to be the provider. I'm going to be the one that doesn't allow any of these things to happen in my family after I'm long gone. Even after me doing that, he found a different path, and he ended up, becoming addicted to drugs and alcohol, and you can feel like when you're connected to someone like a sibling, you can feel it in your spirit, in your heart, in your soul, like their struggle, and
Yeah.
it's so painful. It's like when they're struggling, or like you just know that they're at the lowest point right now and they're crying out for help. You can feel that cry within you. And so when I would get these feelings, I would call him. He'd be like, Shannon, no, like I'm surrendering. And we kept going through the same cycle. And then finally one day he was like, no, really. He said, come get me in the next 20 minutes and I promise you I'll never look back. And I got him into a program that was ran completely differently, which is one of my, which is actually my main partner here at the Recovery Ranch, and she has an incredible PHP program, licensed LPC and everything, and she has incredible homes. But she looks at recovery differently because she was much like me, the one who wasn't addicted, but suffered from her whole family being addicted and enduring that responsibility. So she has been able to, through trials and tribulations of seeing what didn't work, create something that is working. And that's somebody who was very encouraging of what I wanted to do here. And she's like, no, we're doing it. You're doing it. We're doing it. My brother was placed with her, and usually you see individuals in programs like that for well over a year. He was clear headed, level headed, ready to make bigger changes within just about 4 months being there. And then we did the overnights with us, and he still kept, being a part of her program while he was with me and my husband. And he started building, getting a job, doing all the things. And now he has a great job. He has a vehicle, all court costs paid up. You just don't see things like that achieved.
Yeah, you don't hear about it,
No,
especially.
you don't. You don't get to hear those success stories. Am I saying he still doesn't have struggles? He absolutely does. But he still has not relapsed or went back to using, because he has such a good support system that he's constantly being educated on what his next steps are, what his next options are. So he's learning, and I'm very grateful for that. But I'm more grateful that in the time he was an addict, active use, that I didn't lose him, because he died. Well, he flatlined 8 different occasions. He experienced gunshot wounds where he had accidentally shot himself. Just a lot of things that someone his age should not go through, and he's still only in his 20s. He's endured a lifetime for sure. So I'm just grateful he's still with me. And I did get to reach out to my biological family and create a relationship with them. And so I feel like on my healing journey, it's been incredible, because God's led me to all my biological family to endure a relationship. My mom is still active addiction, and my dad is still active addiction. So that is unfortunate, but also it's really cool to see them say, hey, like, we didn't raise you, but you still did these things, and we're so proud of you. And hearing them say they're proud of me still gives me such an incredible feeling, and it helps heal a lot in me too, just hearing that from them. So it's been really cool. So while we might not be like a traditional mom, dad, daughter duo, I'm still here to help them and advocate and just try to support them, verbally and emotionally sometimes. So we just keep it distant, and we have, some sort of relationship at least.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you think you'd like to share?
No, I think that we're seeking some, partnerships and people that could utilize what we're doing here, and we're always open to more suggestions and ideas. But yeah, we have a lot of exciting things planned here for the summer, and we have a lot of cool activities and customized plans for the all seasons, even in the wintertime. So
That's awesome.
we're going to be around the clock all the time, helping people on their healing journeys.
That's amazing. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for coming on with us and taking the time.
Yeah, I'm grateful, and
absolutely.
I'm so proud of you.
Same with you. Like, I don't think that you can comprehend yet what you're doing here. I don't think that.
No, I don't think I have fully. Like, I know I'm supposed to be doing it, but I don't think God has fully revealed everything.
Well, you can definitely see your trust in Him in it. So, keep doing that.
Yeah.
And with anybody that's got questions, reach out to her. If you got partnerships, if you're interested in bringing groups, support it. This is local, and it's taken off. Like you said, it's taken off so fast because it's so desperately needed. I'm a big advocate. I got ducks and chickens, so for
That's
me,
awesome.
like, I understand the animals.
Yeah.
I break out when I'm overstimulated all the times, and just watch chickens. So I believe in this.
Yeah.
And like I said, just thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for even reaching out to me. That was really awesome. I loved hearing your story.
Thank you. And I guess we'll be back with you next week. Hopefully Tab will be back with me. So like I said, just once again, thank you for coming, spending time, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.